more importantly, we have here clearly who's responsible for that situation between the two women. Him. Anne Boleyn was not in a relationship with Catherine of Aragon, didn't betray Catherine of Aragon on a personal and love level. Henry did. Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Dr. Estelle Parong and I'm an academic historian, broadcaster and published author with Penguin UK and ArtUK. And I love historical fiction. But what I love more is obviously the history behind the fiction. In this video, we're reviewing a clip of the Tudors TV show. I'm going to discuss the historical accuracy, but also want to discuss the rivalry between Anne Boleyn and Catherine of Aragon, because I feel like so many people think that even 500 years after their death, they still have to pick a side. And I'm here to tell you that you actually don't have to pick a side, that you actually can like both queens for who they were. Yes, they were rivals because they loved the same man. But I don't think we need to keep pitting them against one another. So let's do the clip first and then let's discuss this greatest rivalry and why do I think we need to look about their similarities.
You, hold a moment.
So here we have Anne Boleyn stopping a man who is holding shirts, and that's where it gets very interesting.
Where are you taking this linen?
To the Queen's Majesty.
Why?
To make shirts for His Majesty. She always has done.
She still makes his shirts?
Yes, Mistress Anne.
So here, it's about Catherine of Aragon still making the shirts and mending the shirts of Henry VIII. What I really love about the Tudors is that they get so many things wrong historically. And I know you're going to tell me, you come always in the comments tell me it's a show. I know it's a show. I'm here to tell you the history behind the show. So it's normal for historians to get hung up about details. And here what's very interesting is that they use something that actually happened, that we actually have in the records, in the primary sources, in the letters, chronicles we have. We know that it is true that Catherine of Aragon, even when she was separated from Henry, and even when he was, I mean, yes, strictly speaking, he was with Anne Boleyn, he was no longer with her, she was still mending his shirts. And so here they use how they're gonna make Anne Boleyn realize what was going on. And I find it like here very clever. Though you might wonder why would she stop someone in the corridors holding linens and shirts. Like it makes a bit of no sense. But it is very interesting that they chose to do it that way. Because here they want you to reveal that obviously that rivalry is about a love triangle, really. It's about a man who pursued another woman while he was married to another one. And this other woman didn't accept to just be a mistress, which was more acceptable at the time. And nowadays, obviously, less acceptable. And who said, like, if you're going to want me, you're going to have to give me everything. Meaning a marriage and a crown. I like that she's hurt and then she's annoyed. She's hurt because it feels, and it is, personal. But she's also annoyed because Anne was fiery, feisty, and that is all true. So again, is it true that Catherine of Aragon was mending the shirts of Henry VIII? Yes, it was. Is it true that Anne Boleyn found out? Yes, she did. Now, I love how you do fiction here, right? It's historical fiction. And here they're gonna take something that is real from a primary source and create a total fiction, a reaction. And I love this. this is Henry VIII probably reflecting on what's going on, what he's about to do. Asking for an annulment is not just that, it's like the Pope is refusing the annulment. So we see here that he's thinking and he's looking at a cross. And I think all of this is also kind of, you can imagine that it would have happened. It's a big decision. And is he ready to make all the sacrifices for the pursuit of an heir? Not for the pursuit of Anne Boleyn, for the pursuit of a male heir. He's obviously very disturbed about it, is conflicted. And I like that. I like that we give that dimension to Henry VIII, though I really despise him, because I think that it must have been true. It must have been hard for him to be in that situation where he feels almost like he has no other choice.
Sweetheart.
How could you?
What?
Your shirts. She still makes your shirts. How could you let her?
I hadn't even thought about it.
So here she's already attacking him about it. And that's the feisty, the fiery. Again, we don't know if that scene happened, right? We don't have it in the records. It's probably much, like, it is what I like. Again, it's about the fiction, that you can make a private scene based on what we know from the records. To me, that seems to be very plausible. That would have happened, right? And I love also, like, we give so much fire and feistiness of Anne Boleyn, who's really, really annoyed that he dared letting her still making his shirts, right? So it is quite powerful here.
You told me there was nothing intimate between you anymore.
There isn't. What's intimate? They're just shirts, for God's sake.
So here we just have this kind of normal, you know what I mean, like dispute and fight between a couple. We also have the jealousy of Anne Boleyn. It's very clear here. And for her, it is very intimate. And it means there's still a bond. And I think that, yes, it is very possible that he would have annoyed Anne this way and this much. Obviously, Henry is just dismissing her, telling her that he didn't think about it, because he's much more preoccupied with what the whole thing is doing and what's happening in his country, for himself, between him and Catherine, and between him and Anne.
They are you and me. They are you and her.
I don't understand.
Then you ought to. It's so hard when we're to be married, but she's still here. You can't have 3 people in a marriage. Why can't you see that?
And why can't you understand that I've more things to think about than my shirts?
And that is such perfect scene, perfect lines. You can't have 3 people in a marriage. And it's what we're going to discuss now, you know, about the rivalry and about what happened between Catherine of Aragon and Anne Boleyn. But here, when he says, I have more important things to think about than shirts, I have a church to think about. You know, all the things he's doing and all the ramification politically, diplomatically, not just in England, but in all Europe. His own image. I love, love, love that scene. I think it's so powerful. I think we have like the tension and how hard it was for Anne Boleyn. But more importantly, we have here clearly who's responsible for that situation between the 2 women. Him. He is bringing this kind of ménage à trois, even if it's not entirely how it worked. And that's why it's so well done here, so beautifully done here, because he is like just trying to tell her that there are things that are more important. But here we have the jealousy of Anne Boleyn, because she knows that they've been married for 20 years. You know, I think that when you talk about the rivalry between Anne Boleyn and Catherine of Aragon, we only see the side of Catherine of Aragon, and I'm not disputing it. She was very much hurt. But it's her husband who hurt her, who looked for another woman. Anne Boleyn was not in a relationship with Catherine of Aragon, didn't betray Catherine of Aragon on a personal and love level. Henry did. But for Anne Boleyn also, it was never a clear cut. She was never a real choice. She was the right person at the right time. She was the one who said no, and she was when everyone, not everyone, but Cromwell, Cranmer and other people were saying, well, that's also a political stand here that you can take against the Pope. The break with Rome is not a religious break, it's a political one, but it also is pursued for different reasons. It's not just the male heir, it's also like the fact that Henry is running out of money, needs more money because he wants to go to war and keeps going to war. So he needed more money, and that's another way to do that, to get the money that would go to the Vatican and to get it for England, for himself. And in the middle you have these two women who are both betrayed in so many ways. He does pit them against one another, and then we kept doing that. But when you look at Catherine of Aragon and Anne Boleyn, I want you to look at all their similarities. I gave a talk about this at the Katharine of Aragon Festival this year, but I will also written an article for ArtUK.org, and I'll put the link down below if you want to have a look at it. Because I think they have so much in common. Their love for books, for education, the way they fight for women to be able to be well educated, because both of them were well educated. That's a very important thing. They're both extremely intelligent, they're both eloquent, they love languages and they learn languages fast. They are both remarkable and remarkably intelligent. I love also the similarities in their motherhood and how they fought for their daughters, Mary and Elizabeth. And I love how Mary and Elizabeth carried the legacy of their mothers after their death. You can see Catherine of Aragon in Mary I, and you can see Anne Boleyn in Elizabeth I. And I think it shows how these women were extremely similar in terms of personality even. Though I want to say that Catherine of Aragon was also feisty and fiery, but she also was a bit more tempered, and maybe because she was older as well, learned how to control her passion. Depends if you mention Anne Boleyn, obviously, or but I think there are some similarities, but obviously differences. But when you go beyond this rivalry around this man, it's what I wrote in my article, is that it's where there is more to understand about these women and what they brought to the table. And they're very good with diplomacy, both of them. Obviously, Catherine of Aragon is the first female diplomat. It's insane. And Anne Boleyn is extremely good at diplomacy, especially with her relationship with France and what she brought to the table, and how she played a role as well in the break with Rome, with implications with France, and how she asked for help from French ambassadors. So again, these women were, politically astute, and for that also have this similarity. What I love about historical fiction, if I go back to that scene, is the fact that these women were hurt by the same man. I really wish that we went beyond that rivalry and that we finally see them for the women and the queens they were. Let me know in the comments what you think about that scene, and if you like this kind of, when you know something that happened historically and then you expand on it and create a bit more fiction. I like when they do it, and when they do it that way and try to bring back to life these historical characters. Let me know also what you think about that rivalry between Anne Boleyn and Catherine of Aragon. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!